Now let's shift our focus to the other big story that we are tracking today. You've been hearing the controversy around the funding that comes in from USAID. The conversation and the political storm that has played out over the disclosure that was made after a cancellation by DOGE. Now in the latest, Donald Trump, the US president, has once again, possibly for the fourth time, has spoken about the aid that was earmarked for India. And it's also Giorgia Meloni who has taken on the left ecosystem. The two comments coming in from the global leaders has put the spotlight on this ecosystem. The BJP has been highlighting how there is a certain section, a certain global section that wants to destabilize democratically elected governments. What did Donald Trump and Giorgia Meloni say? Let's listen in.
When Bill Clinton and Tony Blair created the global leftist liberal network in the 90s, they were called statesmen. Today, when Trump, Meloni, Milei or maybe Modi talk, they are called a threat to democracy. This is the left's double standard. But we're used to it. We are used to it. And the good news is people no longer believe in their lies. Despite all the mud they throw at us, citizens keep voting for us.
Now, Donald Trump over the last few days has been speaking about this fund. The disclosure was about $21 million. A controversy also broke out with reports claiming that the $21 million that the US president was talking about, or that the revelation that came in from DOGE was not meant for India. This charge also has been countered vociferously by leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And it's Donald Trump who's once again given out this warning. He's spoken about this very fact once again, that millions were in fact set aside for polls in India. Why? What does US have to do with voter turnout in India? What did Donald Trump say? Let's once again listen in.
Process in Moldova, $29 million goes to strengthen the political landscape and help them out so that they can vote for a radical left communist in Bangladesh. You had to see who they supported. You wouldn't believe, yeah, you would believe it. Nobody in this room would be in that group. $20 million for fiscal federalism and $19 million for biodiversity in Nepal. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. $18 million for helping India with its elections. Why the hell? Why don't we just go to all paper ballots, let them help us with their elections, right? Voter ID. Wouldn't that be nice? We're giving money to India for elections. They don't need money. They take advantage of us pretty good. One of the highest tariff nations in the world. We try and sell something, they have a 200% tariff, and then we're giving them a lot of money to help them with their election.
So now the global spotlight is on this ecosystem. You heard the comments from Meloni. You've been hearing what Donald Trump has been saying. 4 days, 4 big claims have been made. Let's take you through all the times Trump has spoken about this $21 million fund. On the 19th of February, Donald Trump asked, why are we giving $21 million to India? That was the first time he spoke about it amid the revelation that came to the fore. Let's also tell you about what else he said. He said that India got a lot of money. So when he was talking about the fund that was earmarked, he asked this question, why is the US sending this money in? Then the suspicion was raised. On the 20th of February, Donald Trump once again said $21 million for voter turnout in India. He said that money was earmarked for voter turnout. Then he said, I think it was to get someone else elected, and that was the big bombshell dropped by Donald Trump. He said that the money that was earmarked was possibly to get someone else elected apart from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That is what Donald Trump said on the 20th. And next, let's also take you through the other comment that came in from Donald Trump on the 21st. He then spoke about it being a kickback scheme. And that is why there is a clamor for a full disclosure and an investigation. And then Donald Trump went on to say they kick it back to the people who send it. And then now you have on the 22nd of February when Donald Trump said that you got to see who supported this. So he was hinting at the role of the Democrats. And then Donald Trump also said that millions were sent to help India with elections. So these are the kind of claims that came in from Donald Trump. Let's take you through what he's been saying over the last few days.
What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Wow, $21 million. I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. Well, we ought to tell the Indian government this is a total breakthrough. I have a lot of respect for India. I have a lot of respect for the Prime Minister. He just left, as you know, 2 days ago. But we're giving $21 million for voter turnout. It's voter turnout in India. What about, like, voter turnout here?
Madhav Narapat is joining us on the phone line. Good morning, sir. I'm sure you've heard of what Donald Trump has been saying and the larger focus around USAID funding and the disclosure made by DOGE, and also the searing message coming in from Giorgia Meloni that there is a meltdown of sorts in the left liberal ecosystem after especially Donald Trump's victory, or what Meloni talks about, or what Prime Minister Narendra Modi talks about. What is the larger implication for India?
Well, I'd like to say that for quite a long time, foreign forces have been basically trying to interfere in the Indian democratic political process. And obviously they have their favorites, and they have those who they don't like, and they will try and defeat the latter and try and get elected the former. So hopefully in their minds to power. So this kind of thing has been going on for a long time. What's important now is that the lid has finally come off.
Yes.
Donald Trump has finally exposed this kind of shenanigan.
Yes.
And I don't think it's the business of any country to interfere in any other country where democratic elections are concerned. So I think this is a highly concerning matter. And there may be some technical issues here and there, but overall there was no doubt that there was a strong push against the Modi government. I mean, all kinds of false allegations were levied against it. All kinds of very negative publicity was planted against it. And I'm sorry to say that this went hand in hand with the propaganda of the CCP. They also have the same view on India. They're not very happy with Narendra Modi. So the two were actually going in parallel. So I'm glad that Donald Trump is taking the lid off, and I think it's very important to get to the roots of all this. The Home Ministry is conducting an investigation.
Very important to get, absolutely right. Very important to get to the roots. Thank you so much, Professor Nalapat, for joining us. So you've been hearing the larger conversation around the revelation and the spotlight that has been put by Donald Trump, and now even a larger message that is coming in from Giorgia Meloni. Let me go across to Pragya. Pragya, there are the right noises that are being made. Now, External Affairs Minister S.J. Shankar has also said that the information shared by the United States of America, by Donald Trump administration, is concerning, and the government is looking into it. The larger clamor is for a full disclosure and an investigation. What are you tracking when it comes to the revelations which have gone now in this direction and the clamor for an investigation?
Well, these revelations have come straight from the US president, and this is what makes it very official. In fact, Indian government has to act on it. In fact, what we are given to understand that they have names of the people who have got this US aids and who had worked on a narrative that was to destabilize the Indian government. And in fact, if you look at the funding pattern also, it was higher, between 2004 to 2013. From 14 to 15, it went very low, from $204 million to US dollars to just $1.5 million. So, look at the comparison. However, the funding to NGOs and other institutions who are working here in building a narrative and an ecosystem, it increased. So, look at that pattern. But I think the problem here is that changing of the global order is not acceptable to the powers that were in power previously. Meloni, Italian Prime Minister rightly said that there were left liberals earlier, and now there are conservative governments. So, it is it makes it very impossible for the left liberals to survive and see conservative governments coming together and forming their own ecosystem.
And only for the want of time, Pragya, I'm having to interject because this is going to be the top focus here on Times Now. The global spotlight is on the ecosystem and the larger plot to destabilize democratically elected governments. India is a big stakeholder in this entire story, and what the government does next is going to be closely watched. With that, we're taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more news and updates.